at New York City Comic Con Day 3. My name is Modern Day James here on the Proko YouTube channel. I'm joined by Christian Nee, and now here we are on the final day of Comic Con to learn all we can about how artists broke into the industry.
We're going to be walking around interviewing artists about how to get into the industry and how to do art.
That's all we're going to do. We're going to say, how do you get into the industry?
The only two questions.
How do you do art? And there's no other questions that we're going to ask, and it's going to be the best interview ever. The biggest myths about being a professional artist, which ones are true, which ones are false?
I guess the biggest myth is that, like, when I tell someone that, like, I draw comics for a living, like, they automatically assume it's, like, not in a bad way, but, like, because that's all they know is, like, a cartoon. Like, animation and comics are very different. So I think when you say comic book artist, people think, like, you do, like, kid stuff for a living. But in reality, I mean, comics is mostly for adults nowadays, you know? And then when people think that you do like fun stuff, kid stuff for a living, they probably don't think that it's a serious thing too. You know? It's like if I ever get deep enough conversation with someone that I respect and we're friendly or whatever, like I explain to them, it's like, no, I've actually been able to do this and just this all my professional life. So yeah, there are true myths about, I guess, like the personality that a comic book creator is. Like they say is like comic book artists like are homebodies. It's absolutely true. Like, I mean, for the most part, there's exceptions to the rule. Not everyone's the same. But I love staying home because I love staying home and drawing. You know, so it's fun. It's still fun.
I was talking to some people who came by the booth like yesterday actually, and they're always like, how do I become a real artist? They're like, how do I become this real person? Actually, I was talking to a convention artist who was like, on paper, I'm nobody. I'm just this convention artist. And he does really well at conventions. And it's like, on paper, I mean, versus not, it's like, there's no difference. You are an artist because you make stuff.
Exactly.
Right? And having credentials, after you have them, it's not gonna make you feel any differently. You're gonna still feel like, but I'm still just this artist. I'm still just this person. And that's who you are forever, so just don't worry about it. My main advice to most folks is like, don't worry about measuring yourself against other people because that's always gonna mess you up. Because there's always someone 10 million times better than you who might not have as much success as you, and that will always make you feel like, oh, I don't deserve whatever I have, right? But the main thing is like, just focus on improving because you can do that concretely, and that's something that will feel good if that's what you're focused on.
People romanticize it in the sense that, like, you see these really popular artists on social media and you see like they have 1 million followers and you think they're just rolling in money and it's just like really easy and it's like glamorous, which, you know, in a curated social media feed, that's what it looks like. But I think people romanticize it and don't really know how much work goes into it in regards to like actually practicing to get good, and then how much time it takes to like produce the thing, and you have to hope that thing's gonna pay the bills.
I think like the biggest myth is that you're not busy or you're not working. Like my family is always like, oh, you're just drawing. Like I could come over, and I'm like, no, it's work. I'm doing work. Like you know, it is a job. So maybe people think like, oh, it's all really fun and not very stressful, but it's definitely work, you know?
Yeah, the starving artist thing, it's not true. If you work hard and you believe in yourself and you do the legwork, you'll be fine, man. And learn how to promote yourself. Learn how to promote yourself, market yourself, and you gotta be a businessman too. Put on many hats sometimes.
Dude, I love to hear that. That's like, I think that's the best piece of advice everybody can take.
You are a businessman. This is a business, you know? It's not like, and some people, oh, you just do this for, no, I don't, man. This is like, I do it for fun. I'm lucky. I'll never have to work a day of my life because it's like, I love what I do.
You know, I get a lot of questions about like, you know, what type of pencil or program do you use and all that. There's no magic thing that makes you better. It's just mileage, and you just have to work at it and, you know, have that artistic eye. I see a lot of artists trying to like change to get a job. And if that's your goal, that's fine. Like, I don't want to discourage anybody from doing that. But I also think it's really important to kind of listen to what is coming out of you and chase that. Like, you're going to be most happy if you're chasing your passion and what you're passionate about. Like, I once talked to an artist who really wanted to work at Blizzard, but all of her free time was spent drawing these kind of cute like animals and other things. And I saw that and I was like, that's what you really like to do. Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I can't get a job at Blizzard if I'm doing that. But I'm like, but that might lead you somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, it might lead you to somewhere where you're actually really happy versus trying to change yourself to fit into this other place.
Yeah.
Some heroes gain their abilities from birth or a miraculous encounter. Others still train using ancient methods until they've honed their skills. And then there's heroes who choose to embrace the technology at their disposal, creating new possibilities and redefining what it means to be a hero. That's not too far off from the journey artists take when learning how to do digital art. And Proko has teamed up with John Nymeister, a digital art pro, to bring a course that will teach aspiring digital heroes everything they need to know to get started. From understanding the basics of digital software to getting acquainted with the freedom to edit their photo reference. Oh my God.
Check out proko.com/digital painting to get started today.
What is the biggest myth about being a professional artist?
Biggest myth? Okay, well, I would say the first one is that like you're gonna be poor. I really think it's like any industry. If you're good at what you do, you're probably gonna be fine. Especially with art, I think what's really, really cool about it is that, for instance, like I made it pretty far without having a degree. And this industry is different from others where like your degree is your portfolio. And I would say a lot of studios and places really don't care where you graduated from. They're just gonna look at your artwork and they're gonna be able to tell like what do you know, what can you do, and that's that. I do think that's like the biggest misconception, and it's kind of changing, but you know, it's like the newer generations get it. I don't think the older generations do though. Yeah.
I think there's a very romantic notion about being a professional artist, and I remember in art school that there was always like the type of kids in art school that, to me at least, it always seemed like they were in there for the image of being an artist. There's something to that. I think that's part of it, but I think that being a professional artist is much less glamorous than I think most people imagine it to be. You know, it's a lot of sitting there in your sweats. It's a lot of really just grinding and hard work, and it's not really glamorous.
Yeah, it's like whether you're a super famous artist or a student, the actual act of sitting at a drafting table or a critique, it's the same. You're just at a table by yourself.
Absolutely.
Painting,
all by yourself.
Like at every level, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't change. Yeah.
People think, oh my gosh, you know, I want to work on like all of this until they get to it. They're like, oh, it's the grind. Like, for example, I wanted to work for, let's say, Blizzard. I didn't get to work for Blizzard, but as I progressed on my journey, I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to work for like a game studio, or I worked for Disney for a bit, the movie studio life. I tried that, and I realized there are better people out there for that job than me. So I think people think working at these big AAA studios is the best thing in the world, that they need to grind to make it happen. Like you can find any path of life and be happy and successful, and so don't be scared that you'll deviate from your original path.
Yeah, and I think what you're doing is kind of proof that like, hey, you can set your own path, you can do what you want to do, you can sort of pursue your own vision. Outside of the world of these AAA studios.
Yeah, I would say just trust your gut. You know, when I first started my YouTube, I didn't make any money at all. Yeah. My mom was paying for my bills and stuff like that.
Thanks, Mom.
But yeah, thank you, Mom. But just trust that you'll get there. You know, life is one long journey, and you're gonna have up and down. So don't be scared to take risks, and don't be scared to like challenge yourself, because then you'll really get to live. You know, that's the point of life, is just like live and be present, and just just take those risks and challenges, because I think by doing that you're following your gut, and you can never regret going with your gut.
What's the biggest myth about being a professional artist?
That it's glamorous, because most of it is just me at home, by myself, working in the studio, moving around that paintbrush. So it can get a bit
boring, I guess. People don't realize the amount of hours you have to put in to get like a painting done. So it's less glamorous, but it's still extremely fulfilling and rewarding, and I wouldn't like do anything else.
Like I said, it's a grind. To me, nothing really happens overnight.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And they want to try and copy what it is you're doing, but it's like, nah, it's a growth.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And and you can't just copy something. You got to just, you got to work your way through it.
Right.
To whatever it is that you have to learn.
Yeah.
I would say people maybe glamorize life too much online. It's always a bit harder behind the scenes. It's like you're not always getting business, or like, sometimes companies aren't paying you on time, so you gotta chase them down. Yeah, I would say stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, there's too many things going on behind the scenes that they don't tell you on social media.
Yeah.
And like, if something goes wrong in your life, you're not the odd one out. You're probably not alone in that. You probably expected a lot less time to be spent on being an artist, but now I'm used to it, kind of.
So the first time I posted this image, it got like 2,000 or 3,000 likes. And for me at the time, that was amazing. It was like, holy shit, this is doing really well.
Yeah.
And then later on, I was like, oh, I've never done Throwback Thursday before, or where you repost something, but I like this piece, so I'll do it. The second time, it got like 100K likes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think for viewers, it's like, don't be sad about the number of likes you get. I think it has to do sometimes with just the luck of the algorithm.
Yeah.
It just doesn't mean anything. So don't worry about it. Just have the fun with the piece.
Learning from industry artists doesn't have to end with this video. I just posted a course on animating walk and run cycles on Proko.com. With in-depth lessons and demos, I teach artists of all skill levels how to animate character movement realistically and energetically. Whether you're just starting out or looking to sharpen your skills, you can start today at proko.com/moderndayjames. I also teach a full animation basics course over at projectcity.tv if you're interested in learning from me directly. Thanks so much for watching the video.